So today I want to talk about the difference between stress and anxiety. So welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things relating to anxiety and our mental well-being. So stress and anxiety are two very common emotional responses that impact everyone to some degree. And while they may feel similar at times, it's helpful to understand the difference so that you are able to manage them both effectively. So what is stress? Now, according to the World Health Organization, stress is defined as a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. Stress is a totally natural human response that encourages us to address challenging times in our lives. It can be a reaction to a variety of current situations, such as maybe work deadlines, financial pressures at this time, health concerns or relationship issues, and everyone responds to stress differently. Now, stress usually reduces once the specific challenge has passed, and a little bit of stress can help keep us focused on finding a solution to our challenges. However, if we have too much stress in our lives, it may be hard to relax or concentrate, and it could lead to anxiety or burnout. So, what is anxiety? Anxiety, on the other hand, is a state of worry and fear that is often disproportionate to the actual situation that we're facing. Anxiety can persist even when there's no immediate threat or danger. However, we believe a situation is dangerous even when we have no evidence to support this thought. Anxiety can also have its benefits, as its sole purpose is to keep us safe, and it can help to motivate us to step outside of our comfort zone. Anxiety can also occur as a direct result of feeling stressed, and we can feel stressed about feeling anxious. However, they can also both manifest independently. So before we start talking about the differences between stress and anxiety and understand more about the different types of anxiety disorders and the coping strategies we can use, I would really appreciate if you would like and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so that you're notified of new content every time I post a video. This really helps me to get the video out to more people who may be struggling. So let's jump back in. What do stress and anxiety feel like? Well, both stress and anxiety are common, and they also share similar symptoms, including things like digestive issues. We might have muscle tension. We might feel tense around the jaw or our legs or our shoulders. We have heart palpitations or an increased heart rate, and this can be quite scary sometimes. We can often worry that there's something more serious that's wrong with us. We can have difficulty concentrating or staying focused. It can cause us to feel dizzy. We could get irritable and a bit angry. We might have headaches. We might have insomnia, restlessness. We might find it hard to get to sleep or stay asleep. Anxiety also has additional symptoms, such as feelings of overwhelm. We might feel very, very nervous about a situation that's coming up. We're feeling worried about what's in front of us, and we could feel panicked as well and have panic attacks. So what are the key differences between stress and anxiety? Well, one of the key differences is duration, the length of time it lasts. So both stress and occasional anxiety can be short-term and related to a specific situation or event, and both can be persistent and chronic when they're long-lasting. So both stress and anxiety can occur in the present moment. However, anxiety frequently relates to a situation or event that happens in the future, so it's not yet happened. Therefore, to someone struggling with long-term anxiety, there appears to be no end date for the anxiety subside, and the feelings are often transferred across multiple future events, so it can become incredibly overwhelming. Anxiety often feels as if you are living the fear of the future event over and over and over again, even though it's not yet happened. So if we look at the triggers that cause stress and anxiety, With stress, once the specific situation has passed, such as a job interview or an important test that's coming up, the stress and the associated feelings usually subside. On the other hand, with anxiety, it's often a general feeling of impending doom, nervousness, overwhelm, rather than a specific situation, and therefore it tends not to have a specific trigger. If we look at the intensity of both, stress is a response to an external pressure and is typically a more moderate emotional state. Anxiety can be intense and persistent. So if you're finding this helpful, please do hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified every time I produce more content. And in case you're wondering who am I and how am I qualified to give you this advice, my name is Jennifer Roblin and I am an anxiety specialist and therapist. I've helped hundreds of people overcome their anxiety and go on to live fun and fulfilling lives. So I want to talk to you a little bit about different types of anxiety disorders. Everyone feels stress and anxiety sometimes, like I said, but when we feel anxious over a prolonged period of time, it is known as an anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorders involve repeated and sometimes continuous episodes of sudden and intense feelings of fear, which restrict everyday life and are difficult to control. The feelings we experience are often not in proportion to the actual situation we face and can reoccur frequently. We often believe the worst will happen even when we have no evidence to support this belief. We can also have more than one type of anxiety disorder and they can go hand in hand. So different types of anxiety disorders include things like general anxiety disorder. This is one of the most common types of anxiety disorders, and it's the persistent and excessive anxiety and worry about a situation, perceived or real, that we expect to happen in the future. The expectation of the event may or may not be based on a similar situation that has occurred in our past, or it may be an expectation that we have created in our minds that is not necessarily realistic. The fear and worry is often out of proportion to the anticipated event or circumstances. However, when we're feeling anxious, it feels very, very real to the person that's struggling with a disorder. Generalised anxiety disorder can often occur alongside other disorders or even depression. So let's look at social anxiety disorder. When we have social anxiety disorder, we often avoid situations that include other people, especially if we don't know them well. And it's usually because we are afraid of embarrassing ourselves or drawing attention to ourselves. We often feel really self-conscious and anxious about what others will think about us. We have a persistent fear of being watched or judged, and as a result, we find it difficult to walk into a crowded place or hold a conversation or even engage in small talk, and we tend to want to avoid social situations at all costs. Hypnophobia is a form of social anxiety. It is not so well known, but it's very, very common in people with social anxiety. And this is where we have a specific fear of eating in front of others. Again, because we fear we are being watched and will make a fool of ourselves. Then we have a separation anxiety disorder. Separation anxiety is a form of anxiety that mostly impacts babies and young children, but it can also show up in teens and even adults. Separation anxiety can cause clinginess, nervousness, or fear when a parent or loved one leaves them or are out of sight. Toddlers and young children worry that they will be lost from their parents or caregiver, or that something terrible will happen to their parents if they're not together. Now, nearly all children between the ages of 6 months and say 3 years have separation anxiety at some point and are clingy to some degree, but the symptoms of separation anxiety disorder are much more severe. Then we have obsessive compulsive disorder. Someone struggling with OCD will have excessive and recurrent anxious, unwanted thoughts and will often try and relieve these obsessive thoughts through Performing compulsive repeated rituals. Someone with OCD may be able to recognise that the rituals are compulsive and are not logical, but will continue to use them as a coping strategy to manage their intrusive, anxious thoughts. Performing these rituals will usually only provide temporary relief, hence the perceived need for the compulsion to be repeated over and over, as they have a belief that their anxiety would escalate should they be unable to perform these rituals. Examples may include repeatedly washing your hands if you're concerned about coming into contact with germs, or repeatedly checking that the doors are locked if you're anxious about safety. Another common one is health anxiety disorder. Now, health anxiety disorder is when we have an intense feeling of worry, fear and panic that's directly linked to a physical health condition, or we are excessively worried about becoming seriously ill in the future, even when we have no physical symptoms. Now, someone struggling with health anxiety will frequently check their body for signs of illness and often visit their GP regularly. Health anxiety or hypochondria is related to obsessive compulsive disorder. Then we have sleep anxiety disorder. Now, sleep anxiety is the fear or worry about going to sleep. It can happen for many different reasons, and the thought of lying awake, worrying at night, may leave us feeling anxious about getting into bed in the first place. Sleep anxiety can affect adults, teenagers, and children. We may be anxious about falling asleep in the first instance and are not being able to go back to sleep should we wake up during the night. Sleep disturbances are a very common symptom of general anxiety. Alternatively, we may be scared of having nightmares or night terrors, or we may believe something terrible will happen in the night, such as a burglary or a house fire. Some people fear that they just won't wake up in the morning. Post-traumatic stress disorder, you may know it as PTSD. Now, PTSD may occur after a particularly traumatic or terrifying event where some physical harm has occurred or was witnessed or threatened. PTSD was originally recognised in war veterans, but it's now widely acknowledged that any event that is traumatic to the individual may trigger PTSD, including a violent personal assault, natural or human-caused disasters, or accidents. Someone with PTSD usually finds it really difficult to relax and will experience upsetting night terrors or flashbacks of the event. There's a long list, right? So then we have panic disorder. You might know it as panic attacks, but panic disorder is when we have repeated and sudden feelings of fear or terror that intensify within seconds, and it reaches a peak within minutes. The associated intense symptoms are an increased and rapid heart rate alongside chest pains, and this can feel as if we are having a heart attack. We also struggle to breathe, and this only exasperates our anxiety and increases our panic. Panic attacks are extremely unpleasant, and as a result, we can become fearful of having another attack, which in turn increases our anxiety. Therefore, we may choose to avoid situations where panic attacks have previously occurred in the past. Phobias. Yes, linked to anxiety too. If you have an intense fear of a specific event, place, situation, feeling or animal, then it may be a phobia. People with phobias often have heightened feelings of danger towards the situation or object, and this fear can even be triggered by the thought or image of the situation or object itself. Someone with a phobia may recognise that their fear is excessive to the situation or the object, but are unable to control it. Someone with a phobia would often go to great lengths to avoid the very thing that's causing them their anxiety. I won't go into all the phobias, but agoraphobia is another common one, and this is a specific and common phobia when we fear and avoid places or situations that might cause panic or feelings of being trapped, and where we are unable to escape or get help if something goes wrong. This can result in someone avoiding travelling on public transport or even being in a car. They fear visiting supermarkets or going to shopping centres, or in extreme cases, they avoid leaving the house altogether. Now, this is one we've seen a big rise in: selective mutism. This anxiety disorder tends to impact children more than adults, but we have seen a dramatic increase since the isolation of the pandemic. Selective mutism is when a child chooses not to speak in a public situation, such as school or when they're around an authority figure. However, they are able to speak in an alternative environment, maybe at home. While it usually starts in childhood, if left untreated, it can continue into adulthood. Now, selective mutism should not be confused with someone choosing not to speak in certain situations. When someone is struggling with selective mutism, they are literally unable to speak and they go into the anxious freeze response, which is part of the fight, flight and freeze response to perceived danger. So let's look at some coping strategies. Now that we understand more about the difference and similarities between stress and anxiety, we can explore effective ways to overcome and manage them. So identify your triggers for stress and anxiety, as this helps you to address them more effectively. You can practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, mindfulness, journaling, yoga, anything that can help calm your mind and body. And there's loads of links in the description and on my channel where you can look at videos to do such things. Ensure you're getting enough sleep, as this is an important time for your body and mind to repair and rejuvenate. Have a consistent bedtime routine and ensure your bedroom is dark, quiet and a comfortable temperature. It shouldn't be too warm. Exercise regularly, as this will release the feel-good hormones such as endorphins, which can reverse the immediate effects of stress and anxiety. Speaking to a trusted friend or family member, that can be really comforting, and connecting with others is known to boost our mood. Try and keep to a daily routine, as this helps us to use our time more efficiently and enables us to feel more in control of the situation that is challenging us. Organise your tasks and set small, realistic goals that are achievable and not too overwhelming. Effective time management can also reduce the pressures of overwhelm and tight deadlines. Stress and anxiety are different emotional responses, and understanding their difference is the first step towards managing them effectively. While stress can often be managed through self-help techniques, anxiety may require professional intervention. But remember, you're not alone in this journey to better your mental health, and seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. So while you can implement these tools independently, seeking the support of a mental health professional provides an additional level of guidance and assistance, and it enables you to get to the root cause of your anxiety and your negative thoughts. So if you need further help, then do speak to a trained anxiety specialist. They can prescribe you with a personalised plan that's unique to you, so that you can understand the root cause of your worry and anxiety, as well as help you develop healthy coping strategies that are focused around your own individual needs. Taking care of our mental health is an essential part of our overall well-being, and left unresolved, mental ill health can spiral out of control and have a significant impact on our relationships, our work or school life, our family life. And it is honestly my belief that nobody needs to struggle with anxiety. So we just need the strategies and the techniques to overcome it. So if you want to take control back and live a happier and more fulfilling life, click on the link either in the description or below and book a free, no obligation consultancy call with either me or my team. You've got this. So until next time, bye for now.